You guys might be able to hear the amount of rain that's coming down right now, but that's because it's just a storm. It's just how it happens. It's just how Mother Nature likes to play it today. But guys, welcome back to today's video. I want to share with you the things that I thought about Florida in the 8 months that I was there, as well as like the truth behind everything, because everything that people say may not always be true. So let's get right into this video. I'm going to explain everything that I dealt with within the 8 months or what I think about Florida. So first things first, I want to personally say the location, guys. When you move down there, or if you're planning on moving down there, location is, I think it's the most important thing about Florida, is that whether or not your location is going to be on the coast, inland, or in central. Essentially, they all have different price ranges. Pretty much what I'm saying is the more you go out to the coast, the more expensive it gets. And the more, it's kind of weird because the closer you go into the city, the more expensive it gets as well. So if like you're in between, it's like a fair median, but like it's still not as cheap as it should be. And again, this goes to pricing. So now that we're falling into the pricing category, Florida is not cheap. Say if you're going from Kansas, or maybe you're going from Indiana or Illinois or Ohio, $300,000 for instance. That could get you anywhere between a 300,000 square foot to a 4,500 square foot house in Kansas, Indiana, Illinois, or Ohio. $300,000 in Florida is like gonna get you probably a 1-story, maybe a 2-story if you're lucky, no basement, because there's a lot of flooding in Florida, obviously, obvious reasons. There's a lot of rain, a lot of storms. So you don't exactly get everything for the money that you have. So for living situation, you're gonna be most likely gonna be living in a not so great place rather than unless you're rich as hell, and then you're gonna be living the life. And that's another thing. Florida, I want to go by this quote right now. Florida is the best place to vacation and the worst place to live. Now the reason why I'm saying that is because of everything I just said, the pricing, location, and everything else, okay? So essentially, if you live in Florida, again, going with the location, pricing, and the money and everything like that, okay, unless you're freaking rich, you're not going to be living with the best houses. Now that is, unless you're living in the panhandle, as in like where Tallahassee and Pensacola are, it's gonna be better because you're more up rather than down. Basically, the farther south you go, the more expensive it gets, because it's Miami. It's, you know, all the better locations where the hot weather is and all the nice beaches are. So that's honestly how it happened. It's just, it works out that way, and for some reason people still go. So there's no bad things about Florida except for that it's stupid expensive. Now hurricanes and tropical storms, this is where you gotta watch out too. Although they get them every year, you still gotta watch out for them. And for me, knowing that I didn't have any experience dealing with them because I was from the Midwest, moving down to Florida, I didn't get that pep talk of like, you gotta go weeks in advance and get your supplies. I got them last minute. I was lucky enough to get some jugs of water, but that is unfortunately the only thing that you gotta watch out for, is that if you go down there and you live down there, there's some factors to take in when a storm hits. Tornadoes, they don't really get a whole bunch, but they do get some. It's not impossible for them to get it. It's just, see them very often. You see more like the really strong thunderstorms and everything. So bringing up with that, because that can trail into humidity, there's a lot of bugs on there. There's a lot of big bugs. I'm talking about spiders between, I'd say, 1 millimeter to over 4 inches, to tree frogs being, again, 1 inch to, say, over 4 inches. I've seen a tree frog that was over 4 inches, probably about maybe 6 inches in length. They're huge. They might not be poisonous, but they're huge. Another thing is animals. So you gotta worry about bugs and insects and everything like that, but animals here. Animals down there are freaking large, man. I literally was on the interstate in Orlando, and I literally hit a raccoon that was probably the size of Mochi. If you guys don't know who Mochi is, she's one of my dogs. Mochi's about this big, okay? I'm kidding, she's about this big. This raccoon was huge. It was fat, plumpy, and it was just enormous. So, long story short, if you have animals like small dogs or whatever, also watch out for crocodiles, because there's a lot of them. Alligators and crocodiles. I'm pretty sure both are down there. I think so. Crocs, alligators. I think alligators are more common. Either way, I'm not an expert on that, but especially if you live by a canal or you live by a lake or a pond, they're gonna be probably in there. There's a strong guarantee that they're gonna be in there. So if you let your dogs out, just be careful that you watch out for alligators and huge snakes and everything like that. Everything in Florida has big things. I don't know why, it's probably just the warm weather that makes everything just grow and last longer. Now, I will say, a truth about Florida, there's a lot of coastline. So there's really any place that you can go for a beach. I mean, whether it's on the west coast or the east coast, it's fun. Now, within my 8 months, I think I spent 3 or 4 trips actually to the beach, which actually was not even nearly enough to me. I mean, I was just so busy with school, I was so busy with, you know, moving and the living situation and cooking and everything. It's just like I didn't have time to drive 45 plus minutes to go and just chill out at a beach. Now, some of my friends did actually invite me, but I was like, no, I'm just not gonna do this. So there's a few things that just were not the best situations. Now, I will say though, if you're willing to make the drive, it's worth it. It seriously is worth it. Just, I would most likely go on the Atlantic side because a lot of people are gonna go on the west side, which is the warmer weather, warmer water. But for me, I like more like private beaches that have nobody on them, just so you can sit and relax, don't have to worry about your stuff getting stolen, or, you know, too many people, just crowded beaches. So I would just take that in consideration. Now, whether you're going to Florida for school or work or whatever, that's a big thing. Make sure you have a job. Because if you're like me, when I was down in there, I didn't have a job. My parents were paying for literally everything that I was doing down there because I was going to school. But that's a different situation. I'm a lucky individual. I'm very grateful for it. But jobs are so important. Obviously, the pricing is so incredibly high. Like, you will spend so much on groceries, so much on insurance, and so much on this and that, and it's disgusting. It makes you really want to vomit. Even though I didn't have to deal with any of that, it does make you want to vomit for sure. So, guys, that is really all I have to say about Florida. I mean, there's so many. I know I kept complaining about it when I was down there, but honestly, I kind of rather live in the really warm weather than the really cold weather. But there's more things to do up when the climate changes, because there's snow, there's everything like that. But to be honest, guys, again, if you're wanting to move to Florida, take all these in consideration, because, you know, when you're living there, you're not going to be getting high resorts. You know, live by this quote: it's the best place to vacation, but the worst place to live. Because the vacation spots are obviously beautiful, they're nice. That's not what you're going to get when you're living, unless you're rich, like I said before. So guys, that's it for this video. Please take it in consideration if you're really considering moving there. I mean, I didn't like the climate down there, but again, if you're a local, you probably like it. But that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next video. Peace out.